Hi friends. Most of you who have followed my channel over the past couple of years already know that I own a 1969 Chevy Camaro. What many of you don't know is that this particular Camaro packs a 307 as opposed to a standard 350 that you'd find in most Camaros. So, as a thank you for your viewership over the last several years and for your patience, I proudly present my 1969 Chevy Camaro, an in-depth review. This was my first car, and I intend to keep it till I die. As promised, this is going to be a complete tour of my Camaro. We'll start it up, I'll show you the engine, we'll show you some exhaust clips, we'll take it on a brief test drive from the driver's point of view, go over the performance numbers, both current and past out of the factory, and we'll show you all the interior and exterior features, and I'll point out along the way what exactly makes this Camaro special among the rest. Up until about a year after I got my license, this was my daily driver until I learned how to drive a stick shift, so there are bound to be some imperfections along the way. But remember, this is also not a show car, so perfection's not to be expected. With all that said, let's go ahead and get started. The exterior color is known as frost green, with a full medium green vinyl interior with black dash accenting. This car originally had 124,000 miles when my family first bought it in 2000. It now has just under 143,000 miles. Music to my ears. This Camaro did come equipped with the optional power-assisted steering. Nice and smooth, practically effortless. I kind of need to work on that. Also at a cost of around $200, this car did come equipped with GM's Turbo 350 3-speed automatic transmission mounted on the column with low gear selection. Now we'll go ahead and cut on the headlights, as well as the four-ways. It does come with manual windows. And we'll go ahead and check out the outside. Even with news of an upcoming new generation Camaro for 1970, the 69's body was definitely no carryover. It underwent many refinements, including its V-shaped egg crate grille meeting at a point with the iconic blue Chevy bow tie. It came with standard halogen headlights enclosed in glass, and a front skid plate. Mine has since worn off, but I may replace it eventually. You can see more of the heavy creasing throughout the hood, giving you a rough indication of where the optional rally stripes would have been painted. You can see some more of the new for 69 heavily creased body lines sweeping the entire length of the car, and your polished aluminum rocker panels. This Camaro still has its original 14-inch chrome rally wheels, however we swapped out the original white walls with a set of BFG radial tires measuring 235/60 all around. Also, when you turn on any of the main lighting, you activate the cornering lamps, amber up front and red in the back. One of my favorite styling features of the car is the rear trunk-mounted spoiler in the shape of a shark fin. You can also notice more of the Coke bottle styling as we come underneath the B-pillar. Additionally, the car is equipped with power front disc and rear drum brakes. Factory dual exhaust, Flowmaster units. The exterior is laced with a nice, but not overbearing amount of chrome and polished aluminum trim surrounding all the glass, as well as the wipers, solid chrome bumpers, and chrome exterior mirrors on both sides. I also particularly like these taillight lenses because if you can see closely, they slant out just a little bit. They're also dressed up in polished aluminum trim. The 69 Camaro rides on a wheelbase of 108 inches, has an overall length of 186 inches, stands 74 inches wide and 51.1 inches tall. Original curb weight was around 3,307 pounds. The latch to open the hood is located just above the bow tie. Simple as that. As I mentioned at the start, the biggest reason why I consider this Camaro to be so special is that it's powered by the standard 307 cubic inch turbo-fire V8. The 307 became the new standard V8 offering in January 1969 with the retirement of the 327 turbo-fire. Originally fed through a Rochester 2-barrel carburetor, it originally put out 200 gross horsepower at 4,600 RPM and 300 foot-pounds of torque at 2,400 RPM. However, this has since been refitted with a Rochester 4-barrel carburetor and appropriate intake manifolds. So now, power output is at around 265 and 340 pound-feet of torque. It is rear-wheel drive with a double wishbone front and coil spring suspension with live axle rear suspension. And with a 13.8-gallon fuel tank, it currently achieves an estimated miles per gallon on premium unleaded gas of around 9 city, 13 highway. 0 to 60 time with the 2-barrel carburetor was a modest 9.9 seconds, with a quarter-mile time of 17.3 seconds at 81 miles an hour. Top speed is around 118 miles per hour. It doesn't pack a whole lot of power, but it's definitely enough to get up those steep San Francisco hills. Being that this was Chevrolet's entry into the pony car market, the interior screams sport. Almost every surface in the interior is covered in padded vinyl or carpeting, especially on the doors. Soft padded material with extra padding on the armrest, and a nice amount of chrome and brushed aluminum trim going across the exterior, or the surrounding, I should say, with your Camaro emblem embedded on the door. Manual sliding front bucket seats, all thickly padded in vinyl for extra support on your back and your neck, including the adjustable headrests. Not much in the way of side bolstering, but in the 1960s, power was the priority, not necessarily comfort. You do have the deluxe retractable front lap belts, aluminum, body by Fisher, door entry guards, fully carpeted flooring, and an aluminum accented brake pedal with your disc brake logo in the center. The car also came standard with factory rubber floor mats for all 4 seats. Now let's unleash all 4 barrels, shall we? The tachometer does tend to rest until it hits 2,000. Close it up. Over here you have your standard heater and ventilation controls, fan speed, temperature adjustment, And your front defrost is a little sticky. I rarely drive this in the foggy weather or at night, so bear with me. I'm sure the first thing anybody noticed when I first came in the car is I don't have the original radio. Well, long story short, when we first bought the car, the original radio had been taken out and was fitted with a Kenwood AM/FM cassette stereo with a 6-disc CD changer in the trunk. Well, after about 3 years, the radio went dead, and we always complained about how the CD changer kept rattling in the trunk. So the car didn't have any tunes for about 2 years. Well, as part of a 16th birthday present from my dad, along with the car, he fitted this Alpine AM/FM stereo with single disc CD player and new speakers as well in the back, as you can see here. And the thing sounds amazing. Here's a little taste. I don't want to get WMG strikes. You have to be in it to really experience the bass. Over here you have your Astro ventilation vent, controlled by these vents here, as well as vents underneath the dash right here, if I can get a close enough view. Controlled by this little switch here, allows fresh air to come into the vehicle if you so incline. Over here you've got your standard headlight control with dimmer switch for the interior lights, and your 2-stage wipers, as well as washer fluid release. And like with most GM cars of the 60s and 70s, your high beam and low beam switch is that little button behind the parking brake pedal. Click it once to activate the bright light, meaning that your high beams are on. Click again to turn off. One thing I really appreciate the previous owner for doing is installing this aftermarket Autometer tachometer, as well as the standard Treo pod for oil pressure, coolant temperature, and volt. Now, the bad thing is they don't work in the nighttime, at least the lights don't work. However, I don't drive this at night very much, so it really doesn't pertain to me. As you can see, the entire dash is covered in black vinyl, although it does tend to heat up if left in the sun for too long. Full vinyl headliner with padded sun visors, and your manually dimming day and night rearview mirror. The car also came equipped with front passenger shoulder belts. They don't have them in the back, unfortunately. However, I almost never have anybody in the back, so again, it makes no difference to me. Ashtray and cigarette lighter, although for me it doubles as my change for parking meters and a power outlet. Non-smoker. Also, in absence of a center console, you have a little sleeve here for miscellaneous things such as a garage door opener or a handicap parking placard or a parking permit of any sort, among other things that you can store here. Okay. Go ahead and shut it off. And we'll try and squeeze into the back seat. Front buckets do fold with ease. I stand 6 feet tall, and if the driver were my height, I would absolutely not want to sit back here. As you can see, I would be touching the door. In fact, my knee would be banging the door. So it's really not recommended to sit in the back for taller passengers. Children shouldn't have a problem sitting back here. But again, keep in mind that there are only lap belts in here, and there are only 2 of them. This is a true 4-passenger car. But on the bright side, you do have integrated coat hooks behind the shoulder belt. Massive B-pillar. Well, this part's coming off. I should have that fixed. And here's a close-up view of one of the 2 speakers for my Alpine Pioneer stereo system. Quite a nice view. More of the polished aluminum trim back here, and manual windows. Although you do kind of have to feel your way to keep these windows on the right track. Now we'll check out the trunk. The Camaro certainly is not a people hauler or a grocery hauler. Although measuring in at around 11.3 cubic feet, it certainly has enough room to get a set of golf clubs, or in my case, a couple of bowling bags, or a few bags of groceries. But even with the compact spare tire, it does decrease the volume to around 9 cubic feet. Still not bad. In addition, your fuel cap is located behind the rear license plate, so you can fill up on any side with no problem. There's your seat sliding mechanism, if I didn't mention it earlier. Good sized glove box. All the books are inside too. Oh, and modest little drink coasters, although I never intend on using them. That clicking is coming from my voltmeter gauge. It's not the actual turn signal that's doing the clicking. Is a considerable amount of wind noise, but I've grown to get used to it. Driving this thing on the open road, there's no other feeling like it. You have to be behind the wheel to really experience the thrill. Definitely an eye catcher. The 1969 Camaro, a nice blend of performance, good looks. Definitely a prized possession for anybody to own. Like I said, I know this has been long overdue, but I once again would like to thank all of you for your patience, and I'm sure this was worth the wait. This concludes the in-depth tour and test drive of my 1969 Chevrolet Camaro with the 307 Turbo Fire. Have a great day, everybody.